In the dark, restless waters of the Red Sea, a U.S. aircraft carrier glided silently under a moonless sky. Its massive presence a symbol of American naval power, yet an unexpected threat loomed in the form of the Houthis, a militant group from Yemen. These rebels, long engaged in a civil war and backed by Iran, launched a bold and reckless attack, targeting the heart of U.S. military might. Their attempt to strike one of the most technologically advanced and heavily guarded warships on Earth seemed almost unthinkable, yet it happened. The Houthis believed that by hitting a U.S. carrier, they could send a message of defiance, but they underestimated the sheer readiness of the U.S. Navy. The aircraft carrier's Aegis combat system detected the incoming threat. Anti-ship missiles fired from concealed platforms deep within hostile territory. And within moments, U.S. CRM interceptors and CIWS Gatling guns shredded the incoming missiles, neutralizing the danger. What could have been a disastrous strike turned into a demonstration of American technological superiority and rapid response. This incident was not just about military firepower, but about the broader geopolitical implications. The Houthis' attack sent a message to the world about their desperation and willingness to escalate the conflict, but the swift and decisive response from the U.S. sent an even stronger message. Any threat to American forces would be met with overwhelming dominance. The failed strike highlighted the resilience and superiority of the U.S. Navy and its defense systems, reaffirming the United States' position as a global military powerhouse. For the Houthis, the attack was a grave mistake that demonstrated the futility of taking on a superpower, especially one equipped with unmatched technology and readiness. This event, while a minor skirmish in the grand scheme of the Middle East conflict, sent shockwaves throughout the global defense community, serving as a reminder of the U.S. military's resolve to protect its interests and its assets no matter the cost. The failure of the Houthi strike not only showed the world the strength of the U.S. Navy, but also marked a significant moment in modern warfare, one where high-tech defense systems and rapid tactical responses turned the tide in favor of the defending superpower. U.S. aircraft carriers, often referred to as the superweapon of the U.S. Navy, are a testament to the remarkable fusion of cutting-edge technology, engineering, and tactical expertise. These massive floating fortresses are not just ships. They are cities at sea, equipped with the most advanced defense systems, aircraft, and personnel capable of projecting American military power anywhere in the world. At the core of their incredible defensive capabilities lies a complex network of radar systems, missile defense systems, and electronic warfare technologies that ensure these carriers are virtually untouchable in battle. The Aegis combat system, which serves as the brain of the carrier's defense mechanisms, can detect, track, and intercept incoming threats at ranges far beyond the horizon. This system is coupled with the CRM anti-missile defense, capable of neutralizing missile threats in a matter of seconds using a combination of radar-guided interceptors and rapid-fire Gatling guns. These technologies work in unison, ensuring that no matter the threat, whether from missile attacks, fighter jets, or even advanced hypersonic weapons, the carrier is more than capable of defending itself. Another key component of the carrier's defense is its layered defense strategy, with multiple defense rings that include everything from radar and satellites to on-the-ground naval assets like destroyers, cruisers, and submarines, all contributing to an almost impenetrable shield around the carrier. The carrier's air wing is equally formidable, capable of deploying F/A 18 Super Hornet fighter jets, A-18G Growlers for electronic warfare, and even unmanned aerial vehicles for surveillance, further enhancing the carrier's ability to detect and neutralize threats long before they come close. But perhaps the most critical aspect of the aircraft carrier's defense is its crew. Trained to react swiftly and decisively in the most hostile of environments, the sailors aboard these vessels are some of the best trained military personnel in the world. Their readiness and ability to work together, executing complex maneuvers under extreme pressure, is a vital part of the carrier's defensive capabilities. Furthermore, U.S. aircraft carriers are supported by a robust global network of intelligence-gathering assets, which includes satellites, drones, and reconnaissance planes that constantly monitor for any threats. This real-time intelligence feeds directly into the carrier's command center, giving commanders the information they need to make swift, informed decisions. With the U.S. Navy's ability to quickly deploy carrier strike groups, the presence of these vessels can turn the tide in any conflict, providing a mobile and formidable force that can respond to threats across vast stretches of ocean. But beyond the technology and the machinery, the U.S. aircraft carrier success as an unstoppable force lies in its strategic value. These carriers serve not just as weapons of war, but as powerful symbols of American dominance and global reach. Their presence in any conflict zone serves as a deterrent, a reminder to adversaries that any threat against American interests will be met with overwhelming force. U.S. aircraft carriers are capable of deploying multiple waves of airstrikes, conducting surveillance, and providing logistical support, all while remaining out of range of most enemy weapons. This capability to operate autonomously and project power globally without the need for a forward base is what makes them so unique. In the modern age of warfare, where threats can come from every direction, be it cyber attacks, missile strikes, or conventional warfare, the U.S. aircraft carrier stands as a symbol of adaptability and technological superiority. With ongoing upgrades and the integration of newer technologies, such as directed energy weapons and improved cyber defense systems, these carriers are evolving to meet the challenges of modern warfare. Whether it's defending the skies from enemy aircraft, intercepting ballistic missiles, or launching precision strikes on ground targets, the U.S. aircraft carrier is a force that cannot be easily neutralized. In short, the science behind the defense of U.S. aircraft carriers is a perfect storm of technology, strategy, and human skill, making them one of the most unstoppable military assets on the planet, capable of projecting power and protecting American interests on a global scale. As the world grows more complex and threats become increasingly sophisticated, the U.S. Navy continues to evolve its aircraft carriers to ensure they remain an unmatched force in modern warfare. The sheer magnitude of their defensive capabilities ensures that any adversary thinking of taking on the might of the U.S. aircraft carrier fleet is met with overwhelming force and virtually insurmountable resistance. The Red Sea has long been a region of strategic importance, not just for the nations surrounding it, but for global powers, as it serves as a critical maritime corridor linking the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Ocean through the Suez Canal. For years, this narrow body of water has been a focal point of trade, diplomacy, and, unfortunately, geopolitical tension. But recent events have catapulted the region into the global spotlight in ways no one could have predicted. The attack on a U.S. aircraft carrier, an event that initially seemed inconceivable, has forever altered the calculus of security and influence in the Red Sea. This incident didn't just mark an isolated skirmish. It sent shockwaves across the Middle East, setting in motion a reevaluation of international military strategy and power dynamics in the region. To understand the magnitude of this change, it's essential to grasp the significance of the Red Sea itself. This vital waterway is a lifeline for global trade, especially oil and goods that pass through the Suez Canal, making it a key economic artery not only for the Middle East, but for Europe and Asia as well. The attack on a U.S. aircraft carrier, a symbol of American military dominance and power projection, was not just an assault on a naval asset. It was a direct challenge to the U.S. and its allies' influence in one of the world's most important regions. The Houthis, the rebel group responsible for the attack, likely underestimated the consequences of their actions. What they thought could be a symbolic strike aimed at flexing their muscle in a turbulent region has instead escalated tensions in ways that could have far-reaching implications. Immediately following the attack, the U.S. military demonstrated its readiness and capability in an overwhelming counterstrike that left no room for doubt about the futility of attempting to undermine the presence of a superpower. But the U.S. response was more than just an act of military retaliation. It was a message to every nation with interest in the region. The U.S. Navy's overwhelming force and rapid deployment highlighted the strategic importance of the Red Sea and its unwavering commitment to maintaining control over critical maritime routes. The attack has not only triggered a reassessment of the power balance in the region, but has also brought to light vulnerabilities in the security of global trade routes. This attack, which targeted one of the most powerful warships on the planet, has shown a spotlight on the vulnerabilities of even the most sophisticated military technologies in the face of asymmetrical warfare tactics. The involvement of the Houthis, with the support of regional allies, has drawn attention to the changing nature of conflict in the 21st century, where non-state actors are increasingly able to challenge global powers using unconventional methods. But the ripple effects of this attack are not just limited to military concerns. The geopolitical impact has been profound, shifting alliances and prompting nations to reconsider their positions. The attack has deepened existing tensions in the Middle East and, by extension, heightened global instability. It has reignited debates over the role of the U.S. in the region and the broader question of military intervention. Countries with vested interests in the Red Sea, such as Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and others, now find themselves reevaluating their security strategies. The U.S., in particular, will need to navigate these waters carefully, balancing its defense commitments with the need for diplomacy and strategic cooperation. In the wake of the attack, the U.S. and its allies are likely to increase their military presence in the region, while simultaneously working with local governments to stabilize the area. The attack has also ignited a conversation about the future of naval operations and the security of global trade routes. The U.S. Navy, recognizing the need to protect its assets and maintain control over key maritime choke points, may look to enhance its presence in the Red Sea and surrounding waters, including increasing intelligence operations and deploying additional naval assets. The incident has also forced a reevaluation of how naval power should be used in the 21st century. With threats coming from a wide variety of sources, terrorist groups, regional adversaries, and rogue states, the U.S. military is likely to focus more on unconventional warfare tactics, such as electronic warfare, cyber defense, and counterinsurgency operations. These new strategies will require a shift in how the U.S. approaches regional security and how it works with its allies to combat emerging threats. Moreover, the attack on the U.S. aircraft carrier highlights the growing importance of protecting global supply chains, especially in regions where instability is on the rise. The Red Sea is a key artery for the transportation of oil and goods, and disruptions to this vital waterway can have far-reaching economic consequences. If the region becomes a hotspot for conflict, the effects could ripple across global markets, driving up the price of oil and increasing the risk of shipping disruptions. As the U.S. and its allies continue to respond to the attack, it is clear that the Red Sea will remain a region of intense focus for global powers. Whether through military action, diplomatic engagement, or economic measures, the U.S. and its allies will seek to ensure that the attack doesn't set a precedent for future challenges to their influence. At the same time, they will need to balance their efforts to secure the region with the need to engage in meaningful dialogue with local actors to prevent further escalation. The geopolitical ramifications of this attack will continue to unfold in the coming months and years, as countries across the globe reevaluate their positions and assess how to respond to an increasingly volatile Middle East. As tensions continue to rise in the Red Sea, the world watches closely, knowing that the outcome of this crisis could shape the future of global security and the balance of power for years to come. This attack and the responses to it will not just define the future of the Middle East, but also set the stage for how the world deals with an era of shifting power dynamics, unconventional warfare, and a rapidly changing global order. The U.S. aircraft carrier is not just a warship. It is a symbol of American military might, a floating fortress designed to project power across the globe, and a cornerstone of U.S. naval strategy. With its vast array of aircraft and state-of-the-art technologies, it is capable of dominating air and sea combat in any theater of operations, from conventional warfare to counterterrorism missions. The significance of this platform goes far beyond its impressive capabilities. Aircraft carriers are an integral part of the United States' global influence, allowing the country to maintain a presence in strategic regions, deter aggression, and support allied nations. The Houthis, a militant group based in Yemen, made a colossal miscalculation when they decided to target one of these mighty symbols of American power. By launching an attack on a U.S. aircraft carrier, they didn't just challenge a military asset. They inadvertently provoked a massive response from the United States, which remains a preeminent superpower in the world. This was not a move that could be taken lightly, as the consequences would be far-reaching, both in terms of military retaliation and the broader geopolitical ramifications. To understand why this was such a mistake, it is crucial to recognize what makes a U.S. aircraft carrier so formidable. First and foremost, these warships serve as mobile military bases that can be deployed anywhere in the world, projecting force without the need for permanent foreign bases or territorial disputes. The U.S. Navy's ability to send its aircraft carriers into hostile waters serves as a deterrent to any nation or group considering hostile actions. The Houthis, despite their strategic ambitions in the region, underestimated the sheer firepower and technological superiority of the U.S. Navy. The attack on the carrier was not simply an assault on a ship. It was an attempt to challenge the entire power structure that has kept the Middle East stable, for better or worse, since the post-World War II era. By targeting a U.S. aircraft carrier, the Houthis essentially signaled their willingness to escalate hostilities on a scale that would bring them face-to-face with the full might of the U.S. military. The response from the United States was swift and decisive. The moment the attack occurred, the U.S. military didn't just activate its defense systems. It went into full operational mode, calling in advanced countermeasures and launching a calculated retaliation that would remind anyone in the region of the consequences of challenging U.S. power. Within minutes, the advanced radar and missile defense systems aboard the aircraft carrier intercepted and neutralized the threat, while fighter jets and drones were dispatched to carry out precision strikes on Houthi positions, devastating the rebel group's military infrastructure. The speed and efficiency of a U.S. response sent a clear message to the Houthis and anyone else who might consider targeting U.S. assets. America's military readiness is unmatched. This was not just about the tactical use of force, but about reaffirming the power of deterrence. The U.S. Navy's carriers serve as floating bases that can exert pressure on a regional or global scale, offering unparalleled flexibility in addressing threats to American interests. For the Houthis, attacking such a ship was an incredibly dangerous gamble, one that they could never win. The U.S. Navy's aircraft carriers are equipped with advanced Aegis combat systems, which are capable of detecting and intercepting incoming missiles, providing almost impenetrable protection against hostile strikes. In addition to these defense systems, the presence of fighter jets, like the F/A-18 Super Hornets, aboard the carrier ensures that the U.S. can respond to any threat with overwhelming force. These aircraft carriers are not only equipped for defense, but are also capable of launching airstrikes, delivering precision-guided munitions, and projecting military might wherever needed. This capability gives the U.S. a strategic advantage, allowing it to influence conflicts in distant regions, all while remaining out of reach of conventional attack methods. Moreover, the psychological impact of a U.S. aircraft carrier's presence cannot be overstated. These ships represent the United States' commitment to global security, and they serve as a warning to adversaries. The Houthis likely underestimated how far-reaching their actions would be. By attacking a U.S. asset, they not only incur the wrath of the U.S. military, but also risk the wrath of its allies, who rely on the U.S. for stability in the Middle East. Nations like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and others in the region are invested in maintaining a balance of power that prevents further instability and prevents groups like the Houthis from achieving their strategic objectives. The consequences for the Houthis were immediate. The U.S. response was a coordinated and measured show of strength, but the impact of their actions reverberated beyond the battlefield. Diplomatic channels were open to assess the situation, and regional powers took notice. The attack on the U.S. aircraft carrier underscored the vulnerability of the Middle East, where power struggles between insurgent groups and regional powers can quickly escalate into larger, more destructive conflicts. The Houthis may have hoped that their strike would act as a symbolic gesture, showcasing their defiance and positioning them as a key player in the region. However, what they didn't anticipate was that they were playing a dangerous game with the most powerful military force in the world, one that could annihilate their forces with a well-coordinated, overwhelming response. In the aftermath of this attack, the U.S. was able to maintain its military posture in the region, strengthening alliances with partner nations and reinforcing its position as the dominant naval power. As the U.S. military solidified its presence in the region, the message was clear. Attacking American assets is not just a tactical mistake. It is a strategic miscalculation that will have far-reaching consequences. The Houthis' attempt to strike the U.S. aircraft carrier was not only a grave error in judgment, but also a direct challenge to the global order that has been maintained through U.S. military dominance. The attack highlighted the vulnerability of non-state actors in facing a global superpower, and it reaffirmed the importance of U.S. naval power in shaping the geopolitics of the Middle East. Moving forward, the Houthis will likely reconsider their approach to conflict with the U.S. and its allies, knowing that they have provoked a power far beyond their reach. In the end, the lesson is clear. Underestimating the U.S. Navy, especially the strength and reach of its aircraft carriers, is a mistake that no adversary should ever make again. The decision by the Houthis to launch missiles at the U.S. Navy marked a reckless and highly calculated move that would have profound consequences for their movement and the region as a whole. To understand why the Houthis would engage in such a high-risk, high-stakes action, it is essential to consider the broader geopolitical context in which this event took place. Yemen has long been a battleground for regional power struggles, with the Houthis, a group backed by Iran, fighting against the internationally recognized Yemeni government, which is supported by a Saudi-led coalition. For years, the Houthis have been engaged in an insurgency, using asymmetric tactics to challenge their enemies